and stuff like that. So, and I've seen the shopping mall, and they are very, very impressive, like super impressive. And I was surprised actually that people actually were going shopping there, and it wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap at all. So what I thought and what I knew and what had been told about African retail market was very, 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 very different. And how big are the shopping mall in Nigeria?
So we have three sets of classes in Nigeria. We have the rich, the ridiculously and stupendously rich people. Okay? Very rich. And we have the middle class.
Yeah.
The middle class. I will now have a large number of the lower class.
Okay.
So in this middle class, lower class kind of people, we can afford to enter the mall and buy a piece of material.
Okay.
Right? But mostly, people now, because of the kind of population, so for Lagos, let me give people kind of population of Lagos, people don't want to enter the market because it's so many people in the markets. And it's always very difficult because say traffic and all that. So walking into a retail store or a concept store takes you the stress of entering the market and going through all the stuff, getting all the nice things and putting it together or sending it to your tailor to make. So these are the things that what is driving retail and concept stores in Nigeria. People want convenience. People want to just pick up and go. People want to look very unique. And I know that it is not something that somebody went to buy randomly somewhere in the UK, and when it goes and it's everywhere. So in terms of market, people still go to market to shop because you see market is meant for you to go and say, okay, market prices is you get it cheaper and all that. But people that want convenience, people that want, I want to buy something that is okay, it's looking nice and it's well made, and I don't want to have the stress of entering the market. They go to malls and stores to buy.
Okay.
See the difference. So concept stores, we have about 6 or 7 concept stores in Nigeria that is doing very well.
So let me stop you there. What do you call by concept stores in Nigeria? Let me give you my definition of a concept store. A concept store, and then Bridget will also elaborate on that, but a concept store is like, it's a shop, it's a boutique. It's not a shop, actually. It's a boutique, which is very specifically selling different things, but in a very niche way, with a little bit of experience and a little bit like, you go there because you know what's good, it's not just a random shop. There is a certain personality to it. So what's the definition of a concept store in Nigeria?
Basically what you just said, because people want to go to a place where they buy something that is unique, not experienced shopping, walk in and feel comfortable, sit down in a very good space and be able to see some things that you can handpick and say, oh, it's made for you, it fits you, like that feeling of being comfortable and buy something that are very unique is what concept stores are all about, and which is what some of these people are trying to do. So we have Alara, which you already know, which stocks top African brands. So when you go to Alara, you see the Dorolo, you see Maki-O, you see, Loza, you see all those African brands that want to be recognized. Yes, they stock at Alara because Alara has our own clientele of luxury. People that have money want to buy from Alara. So this is because, and she started well. She has been there for a long while, So when you move from Alara, we have where they call Stranger Lagos. Stranger Lagos so you are a stranger in Lagos, you don't know what to buy. When you go to Stranger Lagos, you have a cafe, you have those things that you want to buy gifts for people that are not in Nigeria and all that.
Yeah.
That is so we have Los Temple Moons. Temple Moons is for the not for young. I won't say they are not for young people, but they said the class they want is for the elderly, you know, that wants to buy something that, you know, they want to go for a bigger occasion with, you know. Temple Moons come with some luxury too, like Alara, but you know, they are not targeting the young millennials.
Yeah. And also, it's very much the international jet set with Alara. That's what she's targeting.
So now that is it. So we have for the young people, because Nigerian population is predominantly young now. When you look at the demographic, we have 18 to 40 at the highest, have 60% of Nigerian population. So now the people that are targeting this one is the people that are coming now, which is the Retail Republic. They are just coming up. And like I said, it does. So we are going to these two brands that I'm talking now are the two people that want to target the young people, upwardly mobile, you know, come in and buy, come in and see what you can wear to the beach, loungewear and all that. This is where it's moving towards to. But we have concept store, we still have open market, we still have boutiques that buy foreign materials and they sell. But these stores mostly stock African wear, Nigerian brand, but they are selling for global market. So it's a niche market that is still coming up. It's a niche market. And you know, Nigeria is a very large population. So for a number key stores that are doing this thing, and this thing are predominantly in Lagos. We've not talked to Port Harcourt, Abuja, and all that. We only have one or two in Abuja. So it's a niche market and it's a growing market.
Okay, wow, that was a fantastic presentation. I can't wait to come and do some shopping in Lagos with you as my guide, innit? Huh? So the session of today is a session that a lot of people are waiting to hear, because it's about it's about to do the business with the business, you know. A lot of people have been asking about, how do I price my collection? How do I know that the price is right? And today we've got one of the best in London to tell us, to explain all of that to us. We've got Bridget Boakye from Ghana, but based in London. And she's been hello, Bridget.
Hi.
Hello. She's been a sales director for like over 20 years, and I'm very honored to introduce her because she's also one of the rare Black women in Europe that does what she does at the level that she does. And she is one of her, I think there's maybe 2 or 3 in London, and top ones, and she's one of them. So Bridget, introduce yourself to our audience. What do you do?
Good morning, people. Good morning. My name is Bridget. Bridget Boakye. I am Ghanaian. Born and bred in London, but I did live in Ghana for 5 years actually, when I was younger. So I can identify quite a bit with the market in Ghana, how it is, and back in those days. I've been 26 years, or nearly 30 years in the game since I was 15, so I'm not a young pup. I'd worked my way up from retail and worked for some very good designer brands, to management of DKNY store in Old Bond Street when it was there, to working with Joseph, and then doing some wholesaling work. And sorry, my little one is just, I'm homeschooling. And then I decided to start my own business in 1999 and started it from there, working with a brand called Fawnarina, and taking it from there from, I think it was like an £8,000 business to a multi-million-pound business. And stayed there, and then kept going on for a while until the recession kicked in 2008. And then I just started working as a freelance for other brands. And one of the biggest ones I've worked with is a company called For Marketing. They're the distributors and agents for brands such as Stone Island, CP, Seven for Mankind, used to Holston, Heritage, Millie New York. And I was mainly for denim. So my brands worked from denim was AG Jeans, Seven for Mankind, a few others. And then I decided to stop it for a little while and just focus on myself and help people who need some ideas of how to what to get a business acumen side of the game. I mean, everybody wants to be in fashion. Everybody wants to, no, just about everyone wants to get their brand into the market, but it's a difficult market. It's not how it was in the 90s or the 2000s. It's the platform and the you know, the zone has changed dramatically, even more so since COVID. And but more importantly is the fact that you can have a great brand, you can have a brand that you've produced and everything else, but the biggest crux of many businesses, they don't know how to price and to understand the costings and to make, you know, usually to break even in the first 4 or 5 years.
So I want, Bridget, I want to stop you there. This is a very, very important point for everybody in this conference, and really listen up, because pricing is absolutely everything. And what I see most of the time, if it's not 100% of the time, when people come to me and say, oh, I want to launch my brand, First of all, they don't make the difference between launching product, selling product, and launching a brand. The process, but we've seen that through the days before today, is very, very different. And also the biggest problem is the pricing. I had that with a brand, which is an amazing beauty brand, but the pricing was right. I could not launch the product in Europe because the pricing was wrong. And if she would have sold it to the right price, the cream would have been £300, and that wasn't possible anymore. So if you want to grow, if you want to progress, not only you need to know who you're going to sell your product to, so how much can they afford, but before you do your product, you need to know, you need to understand how much it's going to cost you at the end before you go into processing and going with the fabrication and everything. And all those very boring stuff, it's key, because if you negotiate your fabric or if you're in fashion, if you negotiate your fabric badly, it will have a consequences
effect. Yeah.
Through absolutely everything. Same with beauty. So pricing is, you should never underestimate pricing. And I'm not talking about profit, but pricing.
No,
sorry,
it's key. Well, there's so many elements to building a brand that it's ridiculous. A lot of people think you can just pick up and go. It's not the case. One, you've got to know what your product has to have a specific USP. You know, USP means unique selling point. What's going to make you stand out in the crowd? In addition to that, can the product sell on its own? That's one thing. Know your competition. What's the price points? Who do you want to sit next to? Who's your brand adjacencies? That's number 2. And then you've got to go back and say, okay, I had this idea. These are the brands I want to sit to. These are the stores I want to sit to. So you've got to do your market research. You've got to know who your competition is. Keep an eye on the prize, but keep focus on your business. And then you've got to figure out how much it's going to cost you. How much is this going to cost me, and how long is it going to take? Yeah. Because time is also money. Okay. So, and also you've got to factor in your own time. This is what a lot of people don't do. You've got to pay yourself. You've got to charge yourself into your product. Okay. So when I'm looking at price lists and everything else for brands and whatever, I have to know my customers and how much they'd be willing to pay, and what my brands are that will sit next to it, that doesn't undercut or undervalue the brand that I'm selling, but it's got to be competitive. So that goes back to, you got to look at your cost, your base costs, how much it costs to produce. You got to look at your shipping and your duty, your slippage, your discounts that you might have to give to the stores, because now the stores don't play anymore. Everything is.
One second, Blessing. Could you mute? Could you be on mute, Blessing, because we can hear everything on the co-working space.
Okay.
Thank you, my love. Go on.
So you have to, you got to think of, what does I say? So you've got your
time.
You got to factor in your time, and then you've got to factor in, postage and shipping. Then you've got to factor in duty. Then you've got to factor in exchange rates. Then you've got to factor in insurance. Then you've got to factor in returns. So, and then you've got to factor in your markup and your margin. So there's loads of these things that you have to factor in into your price. So the worst thing that I see is that people produce a thing and then just go straight to markup. They just mark it by 2.6 or 2.7 or 1.8. I don't know whatever they do, but And I'm like, okay, so you sell that, you know, you've got a product at £30, you're going to sell it £90 and it goes out. So by the time you get the money back and you've paid off your VAT and your duty, what's your net cost?
Yeah.
And okay, your net cost might be like, yo, I make £5 on the shoe. So you're saying to yourself, is that's that £5, but you have to go and pay out and buy more material. And then the material might cost even more than what you had before. So you have to realign, you have to bear these in mind. What the price you might have paid for a product or a piece of material then might not be in the same price as 6 months. So that's how I come with the pricing. In addition to that, then you've got to find the stores that will actually pick up your brand at that certain price. And that is very, very key. There's no point in you saying, oh, I've got an amazing product and I want to send it into Dover Street Market, and I want to sell it into Selfridges, or I want to sell it into Neiman Marcus or Bloomingdale's or whatever. And yeah, okay, cool. They might buy you, but they might have 10 other brands at the same thing doing the same job. And they're well known and maybe cheaper. And in addition to that, stores do ask a lot of discount. Unfortunately do. So you've got to factor that in. So, you know, your TDs, your SORs, your pro forma, you know, all of these things, these are costs that you have to factor into your pricing. If you wanted to do something like, I don't know, Selfridges or Harrods, they ask for, you know, they might want to do a settlement discount or a trade discount or a markdown agreement. If they go on sale, you don't sell through. And also sell-throughs are important. You've got to have a good sell-through if you want your product to stay in the store. You could be a one-hit wonder.
So sorry, what is a sell-through?
So basically, you say the customer comes to you and they place a £4,000 order, for example, and they say, okay, we'll place a £4,000 order and it's got to be delivered between January and February. That's your delivery window. And within that time, I'm going to sell. You have to have that brand has to sell 60%. Has to have a 6% sell-through. So you've got to sell 6% of your product. And then the rest is either put onto sale or sent back to you. So that's what a sell-through is. And if you don't reach that sell-through, you could be at risk of not being picked up for the following season.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, if you're hot off the mark, you could also be the last to be paid off the payroll from that company. All right. So the higher the sell-through, the better chance you have of remaining in that store. And more importantly, for me, the initial orders, which we call the first batch of order that you get from the customer, is always kind of small because they're testing you out. So if you have a very good high sell-through, like an 80 or 90% sell-through before the end of the selling season, within that selling season, you should be having repeat orders. So repeat orders will come through, and that's where the bulk of the money will make your business. It's not the initial orders, it's repeat business that makes you the money. Okay, everyone's like, oh, I've got a £5,000 order, but great. Okay, did you sell through? Yeah. Did they come back? No. Why? Did they make a reorder? No. Okay, then your product wasn't that successful in that store. If they said, yeah, they put a £4,000 order, yes, and then they made like 8 repeats in that order in that season. Great, they made 8 repeats. What's the average order? Oh, they repeated like £3,000. There was £4,000. So basically, the next thing you come to the following season, that £4,000 initial order for that whole season is literally now £11,000. So your £11,000 budget that they spent that whole season is a budget for the following season. So you know what's coming. If your collection is on point for the next season. So you have to think like that. So this is where I am. This is where I'm thinking, like, the product's great. You know, my sell-throughs have to be spot on. But you know what? The business is in repeat business. So it's a golden mix of quite a few very targeted elements to get it right. You're not going to always get it right. That's fair enough. It is a trial and error, you know. But if you strike one or two, or you even get like 50% of a success rate within the first season, then you're onto something for the second season. Again, that is if your product is up to par or even better than the previous season. Okay. And again, the key is that you have repeat business. If you have repeat orders from the initial one, then you know that you're onto gold. If you don't have repeat business, then you know what, it's going to be a little bit longer. It's going to take a little bit of time for it to come through. And in addition to what you also have to do with your pricing and your selling, you also have to go in and you have to sell the product to the store. It's called training. You need to do training in the stores. You can't just sell your stuff into the stores and not train the staff about what your brand is.
That's why I wanna go back a little bit, because you explained quite, third in theory quite clearly. I understand it, how to do the marketing and the pricing. Now, on what sort of document do I have to do my pricing? Is this I know it's a bit like a schoolgirl asking, but it's important, because what is it? Is it an Excel document? Is it a Word document? Is it what?
No, you can do it. You do your initial pricing on a spreadsheet. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Excel.
Just simple. Don't keep things simple. Don't complicate it. Just keep it in your spreadsheet. And then when you send out your pricing to your stores and stuff, you just got to give them the cost and the retail and the markup. That's it. That's all you give to the stores. Okay. That's what you do. But your pricing will factor in all of the stuff that you need to get to your wholesale price. Okay.
So and then okay. So let's say I'm not very good at that because I'm a creative. How do I get picked up by someone like yourself?
It's okay. There's UK has a very lot. We have a good plethora of agents and distributors in the UK, and you can go on to Modem Online. You can go on to London Fashion Week, and you can actually see all the agencies that exist in the UK themselves. And you might even find some independent retailers, or in LinkedIn, or in Facebook, or word of mouth, or even just asking a store of who represents this brand? Do you know who the agents are?
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
That's the easiest one if you can't go, because if there's something that you like and you're like, I like that brand, who represents that brand? You can go to the store, or you can go to the brand, you can find out who the agent is and stuff like that and contact them. That's one way. And but then you have to, if you approach them, you have to come to them with the knowledge of knowing that you have some really good understanding of what the market is. What the market that you want to enter into. You need to understand where it's at. You need to understand where you actually vision your brand going. You need to understand your competitors. And it's more so than ever before. I think you've got to be very, very flexible now in terms of customers, being more how would I say, what's the word? A bit more compassionate in terms of payments. So before we used to do 30 days net, we used to do 30 days net, 15 days net. That's fine. Customers will pay on time. But now, with COVID, if you've got to either decide to say, okay, it's either a gut instinct that I'll say, okay, I'll go with that client and I'll give them a chance. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to have to swallow the cost and take the stock back if it doesn't sell. Or if they sell, that's great. They'll take it on. So, you can do a pro forma, or you can do an SOR.
But then I wanna go back again. So you explain where to find an agent, but I want an agent to take me. What do I say? How do I have to present myself? What is the best way? Do I have to turn up to the office, send garments, send flowers, send chocolate, send the letter, show them the results of my sales in the past 6 months, invite them to lunch? I mean, in France, the best way would be to invite them to lunch, because everything happened at lunch, which is to the annoying point that it could be a phone call, but they want to have lunch, lunch again. So I don't know in the UK, how do you do business to be the chosen one?
It's a different kettle of fish. We don't kind of we don't like, I don't know. I know, well, back when I was there, so you don't get a buyer over lunch or stuff like that. They're very
shame.
I know, yeah, but they're very, very professional. You just cold call them or send them an email and just, you know, keep on pressurizing them. You know, can you just spend 5 minutes of your time? You just round the corner. These are the selling dates I have. And you've got to understand, with each of these buyers in the department stores and the independents, they have so many brands to chase, so many brands to buy with a little amount of time. So how do you get your product in their face? This is the key. You have to either just be really, really nice, or you not just really nice. You have to show that, you know, you're very active on social media. This seems to be very key recently. Be very active on social media, and if that doesn't work, you can actually think of going to exhibitions that you know that they're going to be there. Exhibitions is a really good way of showing where you're at. Saying, oh, we're going to be at this exhibition. You know, you've got CPH in Copenhagen, you've got London Fashion Week, you can do Paris Fashion Week, you can tie up with a showroom. You know, hire a space in a showroom, you know, for a time being.
That's a very good idea. And let's talk about trade shows, because young brands don't always know about trade show. They think that they're so focused on the the DTC, direct to consumer, that sometimes they don't understand that if you go to a trade show by themselves, it's expensive. But if they go maybe with 5 or 10 designers, that could be worth it, you know? And because everybody that walks out of the door is there to buy collection, is there for their shop. So they're there to source for some sort of business. So tell us a bit more about trade show. Is it worth it when you're a young designer or a middleweight designer to do a trade show?
It is. You know what? I actually think trade shows, right? Well, back in the day, if you went to a trade show, you actually wrote orders. You actually really wrote orders. And now, you know, the last few years, it's more or less now meet and greet. But your exposure is bigger than having been stuck in a little showroom and not being able to speak to the, you know, get the customer into your showroom or your store. Because they all go to the exhibitions, and they're all looking for the next best thing. So you've got to create a vibe when you get to a show. I actually believe that shows stand out much better than trying to get yourself into a showroom, because us agents as well, when we go to the shows, we're always looking for the next designer, next new brand. Okay. I mean, that's not just representing the brands that we're already there. We always listen out for the next key brand that's around the corner. And they're like, oh, did you see that brand? Yeah, it's on stand, blah, 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 blah. It's really good. And a lot of the time, the stores and the independents want to be the first to get the latest brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if they find you an exhibition before anybody else, they'll lock you down. And it's 9 times that is the case. So I would say trade shows are a very good way of getting into an agency and the stores at the same time, because we're all there. All of us are there. All of us are there, and we're all walking around. Aside from buying our normal, you know, our normal brands, we all got budget looking for something new. So I would say look at all the shows. You got the pre's coming up now, and I want
to add to that. Trade shows are not marketplace, or they are not pop-ups, right? These are professional places where you need to be a certified buyer, or you need to be a certified journalist. That's what you're going to meet there. You're going to meet business people, and you're going to meet the press and distributors, or also manufacturer, because manufacturer spend time there to find their next client. So if you have a problem with sourcing, or you want to be sourcing different fabric, trade shows are the best place to be. Also, in the comment, please put your question, because I'm sure that you have questions about pricing and distribution. So put your question so we can do a Q&A before the end of the talk. So me, I love trade shows. I think that for young coming up designers, they are the best place to be and to be as a real brand to start off. Now, what I would advise to a young brand, do not start straight away with a trade show, because you might not be very sure of your product. You haven't tested You haven't had them tested on your consumer so much. You haven't had consumer feedback too much as yet. Do a trade show, maybe after you've done 1 year or 2 years of pop-ups, when you've managed to gather that community that buys your product. Do a trade show when you know that you have XYZ follower on Instagram and they're going to follow you there and they're going to support you there as well. Do a trade show when you are sure and certain of what sells and what doesn't sell, because that is something that you will be able to explain to the buyer. And the more you can explain your brand, the more you know your brand, the more you understand the consumer in relation to your brand, the better your agent will be able to sell it to the right places as well. Right. So when you start off like this, like that, and then you evolve. So when you are on a more kind of, okay, yeah, I know I've got a consumer base, and that consumer base, I understand what they like. Collaborate with your consumer base for the next product, you know. And then when you know that you've got this next product that you've been asked and asked and asked over and over, go and do a trade show and say, well, you know what, for that dress, it's already sold out. I've got that many people. I just have to tell them where to buy it. That's where I am with that dress. That kind of talk, it's a motivation, because for the buyer, that okay, yes, so they know what they are doing and they understand that you're in partnership with them to shift, because the goal is to sell. So you need to know your brand very well. So if you don't do, if you don't do a trade show right away out of the press, it doesn't really matter. Take your time, make sure you know your product, and then go and do a trade show. Because also you need to be very, very confident. These are very long days. These are very hot days, very fun, but very stressful, because you're going to see a lot of people coming to your table and a lot of people going. People are coming to look at your stuff and copy them. People are coming, people are coming to look at your stuff and buy them. And sometimes they might not buy them straight away because they just want to see, and then they're going to look, oh, you're here this season. Will you be there next season? And if you're there next season, then they're going to buy you, because they want something consistent. If you're a very small shop, they want to have something that they carry through this season, next season. But if you do something and next season you're not there, what are they going to sell? They would have hooked on their client on something that they can't sell anymore. So you're not a good brand to collaborate with. So you need to think of all of that when you think of the brand. If you think as, I just do that and I want to shift product, keep up with the pop-ups. It's fine.
Agreed.
Keep up with the marketplace.
I think that's said very well. Yeah, you said. I think you said that. And if you want to, if it's the case that you don't want to do it on your own, do a pop up with another one that's, get a consortium together, get a collective together of you like-minded people, take a space, because it's not cheap to do a pop up space. This will take costs, and then you got to see, timing is right. Have I done it at the right time? Have I done it during, Paris Fashion Week? Footfall of clients. Who's going to push all those clients to come and see you in that pop-up? What's going to engage them? You're going to have an event. You're going to have whatever the case may be. So you've got to think of all of these little things that come together to get the customers to come to see you. You can do a pop-up, but you can do a pop-up as much as you like. But if they don't come and see you, it's going to be wasting your time. So getting these clients in are not the easiest, to do. It really is a tough end of the business. But if your product speaks, they'll come and find you.
And also, if you decide, I think as a young brand, collective is very good. And if you decide to do that and you have a common pot together, get the help of professional. I can never stress this enough. Get the help of a consultant to help you or collaborate with someone, and therefore maybe you can have someone who can push a little bit of PR so the right people come. You can have someone who can help you monitor all of you and make sure that all your selling points are on point. And that's all. Not coming in with the buyers because maybe you can afford that, but at least if your price points have been checked by an expert, you know that you can go confident to the sales. Do you see what I mean? And therefore, when you
Yeah.
go there, you know that you can negotiate. And that's one, because to be in the process and the making an order, no matter how much the order is, and at the end you make your order, and when you're doing your order, you realize actually it costing you money because it was the wrong price. There is nothing worse, because that client next time,
yeah,
is
like,
going to be
what?
like, yeah, why is
Oh,
it more
yeah,
expensive? And you're like,
I've seen that many times. Get a commercial
know?
director. They're called commercial directors. Get a commercial director, or or someone who's just into your sales. You're the designer. Design it, put it together. And then you get someone separate who's actually going to just do your sales and your pricing. Keep them separate, because unfortunately a lot of designers don't know how to price. They're very artistic. You know what I mean? So just slay in your lane and go play. Slay in your lane and just focus on what you do best, and then get yourself, and it might cost you a lot of money, whatever, but in the long run, it will stand you good stead, because you know what people think, they're not cheap. They're not they haven't done all of this for years for not knowing how to do it properly. So they're worth their value in time to spend that money, to have them on your side to do your business. Okay?
To save you time and money and mistakes.
Save you time and money, and let the designer do what they do best and design the best that they can. Take that onus off your head of having to deal with, customers, pricing, shipping, deliveries, returns, all of that kind of thing. And then you've got someone else doing your marketing. Let them do your marketing, but they all have to understand what the designer's vision is. It will have to be behind the designer. What we call the middleman. We, as agents and salespeople, we're for the supplier and we're for the customer. Okay. So we're in the middle. So we've got a very fine balance of trying to make sure that everybody is happy. The end game, our end game is to make profit. The end.
Yeah,
it's not
the
about,
end.
It's not about, it's on this one. I don't give a crap if it's on the Queen or blah 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 blah. I don't care. My goal is that, did you make profits? And I don't mean gross profit, I mean net profit. Are you clear? Because you got to pay X, Y, and Z. And do you have money for yourself? Yes. Cool. Then you go, and then the other side for me is that I have to say, right, I've got this, we've done this, what's the next thing? So I'm the person who's not going to I'm the person who comes to the supplier and says to them, "Oi, what you got next for me? What's the next thing? I need the next thing right now. What you got? And then I've got the other, and I'm on the other side to the customer saying, I've got this for you. You got to have this, blah 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 blah. And then the customer said, "Oh, like this," and I come back to you again, and da da da. So we're fighting for both the supplier and for the customer. But our end game is profit. The end. Don't care how you get it, how you do it, is profit, and making sure the brand has longevity. But if you don't get your pricing right, you're basically screwed. You're screwed.
Absolutely. And you have no brand. I would like to take your question. I'm doing that from my phone today, so I'm trying to.
Me too.
But I'd like to take few questions. So Pat, thank you from Paris. I would like to know the best way to get your pricing right when launching your collection to avoid mistake. I will tell you one thing, Pat, the best way, take a consultancy with the commercial director. Then you learn the basics. When you learn the basics, delegate to that person so you can get confident. And over time and over the years, after one collection, you will know your pricing. You'll be very comfortable with that. But if you are doing the marketing, the promotion, the digital, the designing, the manufacturing, you can't, people really have to understand that launching a brand is not the same thing. A brand is for longevity. Product is you're gonna make quick cash on that skirt, quick cash on that t-shirt, quick cash on this, but it's born today, maybe gone tomorrow or not, or maybe never born really, yeah? Now, if you really want to have the price and if you really want to do distribution, it's something else. You need to give yourself time, and there is some key points you need to delegate. And those key points, you would learn them over time. Some people are better than others. I've got a client, she's very good at that. And I've got some, I've been trying and trying and trying, and they are actually in business, and it's a disaster. And I can see them selling, they sell very well, but they sell and they're not making any money, they don't understand. And I keep telling them, because your price point is wrong. Your price point is wrong. And they're like, yeah, but how can I change my price point now that that's the price that my clients are used to? It's a huge dilemma. So don't get it wrong from the beginning. Get someone that's going to teach you, but also once you understand, it's going to make it easier for you to be able to go and negotiate with your manufacturer. Give it to someone. But what's your take on that, Bridget?
No, in addition to that, if you're not doing the sales yourself, if you want to do if you want to go to a distributor or an agency, you also got to factor in their commissions. Okay, so a distributor will take on the whole of the thing, and then they'll just buy a bulk from you, or collect all the orders and put one whole big order into you, but they want a discount. So that discount could be from 30% to 40%. So you've got to think of that if that's a distributor, because they're taking on all the costs of shipping, returns, the whole thing. And if it's an agent can come from maybe 12 to 20%. So commission. So these are all things. If you want to go in that route, you have to think, this is what it's going to cost me on average if I'm having a distributor or an agent. If I'm doing it myself, it's different. If I'm doing it myself and I'm going to do it by my own self, that's fine. But if I want to go with an agent distributor, you've got to also think of their costs, because that's what they charge. Okay. So,
and then, like I said, before to go to an agent of a distributor, you can have a consultancy with an expert that's going to teach you how to do it. But then when you're going to have to do it more properly, get the help. Now, if you say, oh, but it's okay, I just want to do pop-up. And what if you're doing a pop-up and there's a buyer, the junior buyer from Selfridges or Le Printemps Bon Marché that comes in and say, oh, we love it, we want to make an order, come and see us next week. What are you going to do? You need to get your price point on, really on point. Now, we've got a question from Ebo. So Ebo is saying, I'm not clear about Bridget's explanation on why buyers do not restock a designer. Can you kindly re-explain this part of the business?
It's basically, if your buyers look at sell-throughs, they actually buy your product because they actually genuinely like it themselves, and they think that they can sell it to a lot of people. Independents, they know their clients, but for buyers of department store, there's buying for a wide range of customers and consumers that it could be anybody. So for them, it's called a sell-through. So if your sell-through is high, so if you sell-through, if you sold 50, 65% sell-through, this is what they give you. They give you a target to reach. You've got to sell that amount. Yeah.
Okay, let me, Bridget, let me translate that. Let's say you have a department store, Ebo, you have a department store that give you an order and they're going to pay you for this order. This order comes with condition, and those conditions are, you have to make sure that a certain percentage of your product are going to be sold within a certain time. This is why you have the brand, they are on a testing time, and they're going to push all their customer, and they're going to drive all their customer toward that retail space. And they're going to have animation on the store, because they know that if by the first, the second, or the third week, they haven't sold £10,000, which is worth, I don't know, 50 maybe % of the order. I'm giving a number out of my head, But if they haven't sold 50% of the order by the second week, the retail, you tell me if I'm wrong, Bridget, but the department,
it's true.
Yes,
it's basically, you have
the department. Let me just finish. The department store is going to say, thank you very much, but you either we're going to discount all your stuff straight away, which doesn't look very good. And then when they say that, you know what's going to come next is like, and thank you very much, but you won't be coming back next season.
Right.
So basically, to resume it, to make it very short, it's when they're testing you, they want to see a return of investment on a very tight window. And if you don't hit that window, you're out of the window. Is that Bridget?
It's near enough. It's literally near enough. You've said it actually very well. Back in the day, you could have gotten another season out of them. I can do it on, but you've got to think you are renting a space from their store. Basically, that's what you are. You're in their store. They're the landlords. Yeah. Every brand that goes into a store has to turn over a certain amount on their square meter, and if you don't perform to that level, you've got the next best thing behind running right on their back behind you, coming in is gonna blow out the water. So sell-throughs are so important. I'm literally for example, on denim, if you're in denim, I mean, that is the most difficult category in women's wear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the hardest.
Yeah.
And it's literally all digits. It's just pure digits. It ain't about, this fits whatever, blah, 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 blah. It is the strongest category in clothing all around, because it is a big money turnover. So I'm constantly on sell-throughs. I mean, if that's not working, guys, you know what? Can we swap it out for something else? I can see that's had a 90% sell-through this week. You're missing sizes. Okay, let me send something in. That's how I make sure that the sell-through, by the time I end the season, the sell-throughs are maybe sitting on the 75s and 85% sell-through. At the end of the season, cool, I'm going to have my budget. I'm going to have my budget for next season. I'm going to still be in. But if I'm sinking and I'm not on my game, or the staff are not on their game, I guarantee you I won't be there next season. So another new brand is there.
So Bridget, we also have, because we have a few questions here.
Okay.
Rina Henry, she said, hello, I currently mark up around 4.2. But that would be nice, guys, if you could tell us what is your business as well, because what do you do? Teacup, shoes, scarf, silk scarf?
Yeah, I was going to say, what's 4.2? That's a big markup.
What 4.2 of what? Of carrots or cabbage? So, hello, I currently mark up around 4.2, so I can make a profit from wholesale also. So my prices are high-end, but what is high-end and for what? Yeah. Would that put off a buyer if they can make a margin of 2.1?
Yes.
2.1. Yeah.
See, you're mixing the two now. So she's got it wrong. Look, there's a difference between margin and markup.
Yeah.
Huge. You got it backwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
You straight off. I was like 4.5. If you said to a buyer, oh, the markup is 4.5, they will love you to death. Yes. They will buy the whole stock. It's just like, no, it's backwards. Please, Google, as I say, Google is my friend. Figure out the difference between margin and markup. Markup is what you're after your costs and you've put on your margin. And then you do your markup. It's the reverse. So markup usually, even on clothing and retail, the maximum, you can get 2.8, 2.9. It's really that, that's a buyer's dream. If you can get 3, but 4, I'm like, what kind of brand is that? I mean, everybody beyond that. They'd be like, what the hell? So
let me also explain that the thing, markup and margin, from what I remember from my days in retail, the markup is what the department store is going to be able to keep, right?
Correct. It's what you
and the margin. The margin
markup is what you listen. It's the RRP is a recommended retail price. Okay, don't listen. Your markup, right, is a recommended retail price. It doesn't mean you can enforce it. Be careful. Because this is where the law states you can only recommend. So if you say to them, we recommend a markup of 2.5, 2.3, that's cool. As soon as the goods are in the store can sell the market up to 2.7, 2.8 if they wanted to. because you obviously they've got the discount. But if you have a product, if you're doing a 2.5 or 2.7, that's cool, because you're just giving a recommended retail price. Okay, so then the buyer will turn around and say, oh, maybe I can add another percentage on top, or I can add another.
So Bridget, we need to slow down, because this is very important, and you're going so fast.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm getting dizzy. So let's be very practical. I'm going to take it down to my level. I'm 5 years old. I've got one apple, two apple. Yeah.
Right.
So let's say I'm a graduate and I'm selling coats. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do a coat that costs me £5 to be making.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the time I'm spending on it, I can add £5 more. So it's £10.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I want to make a little bit of profit, I add £5 more. So altogether, I would go and sell it to my local shop that knows me since I'm a kid. I say, oh, do you want to buy my coat for £15? That's my wholesale price. And then his markup will be okay, and I will sell it £25 in my shop. So his markup will be £15 on it. Yeah? Is this right? That's markup. Then your margin, your margin, then what is the margin?
Well, I do all right, I make it really simple. I say your margin, basically your margin is your time that you put into this thing.
So that's the £5.
Yeah. So if you say that, it costs, after adding all the costs of the materials, the insurance, the duty, the exchange rate, the shipping, the slippage, and it all come up to £30. Okay, what's my margin going to be for the time? Let's just make it. I'm going to make it in layman's terms. So basically, is your profit is like a profit margin. Yeah, what do I take? You should take it between like maybe 6 or 8% on top.
But I want to say so.
You should add that to your cost, and then when you've got that figure, you do your markup. Yes.
So now, Rina, do you understand why we are saying you've done it upside down? The markup is for whoever is going to purchase from you, and the margin is you. So when you say, would that put off a buyer if they can make a margin of 2.1? They don't care. It's your problem because it's yours.
Yeah.
The margin's yours, and the markup is there. So yes, if you tell them they can do a markup of 2.2, they'd be happy. But it's upside down. You need to tell them their markup would be 2.2. And are you, Rina, happy with doing a margin of 2.1? Now, do you understand? So I think we've answered that question. Now we've got the next question. So buyers, we've done that. Patch, we've done it. Baby Fran, we're going to do you in a second. Rina, we've done it. Hello, my name is Funke. Okay, hello, my name is Funke. Most of us have small business. How do we realistically, based on the economy, get a commercial director? 1 second. Can you break down ways for small businesses? How do we get opportunities to get into this exhibition, especially for Nigerian? I want to answer this one, and then you're going to answer it.
Yeah, you answer that one.
Because small business.
I don't understand why there isn't like an exhibition in Nigeria for all these people.
Well, let's talk about that. That's the thing. First of all, most of the small business, they get help to get into exhibition. First of all, if your products are really, really, really good, they will give you a stall. You will have to pay everything for yourself to get yourself in France or London or internationally to get to the international markets. But they will say, nah, because exhibition, they always have free space. It's never a case where the exhibition is sold 100%. So me, for instance, I would take advantage of COVID and I would contact the exhibition and say, we are 10, a Nigerian designer, and we want to come. We cannot pay 5,000 the foot square, but we could do this. Let us come in. And you know what? If you have a good presentation, if you have beautiful collection, if you're ready, I think they'd let you come. Why? Because it's better for the trade show, the exhibition, to look full than empty. And because they always have spare spaces. And I've seen from experience, because when I did a trade show, I was invited, and they were going to give me 9 foot square, and I said no, I want 25. They gave me the 25 because my presentation was so good. I was like, no, I'm worth 25, and I'm going to make you a show like no other. And our stall was elected one of the top 5 stalls. And we didn't pay for it. We were invited because they liked our Instagram, they liked everything about the brand. And we put something that on the follow-up of our invitation, we did something very, very interesting that they really liked. And then they really noticed. So you could be invited, first of all. Second, you need to then create a collective. As a collective, take the brand. It's not everybody that needs to go.
Can I come in here? Agnes, can I come in here? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, so I like the way you answered it. And so the person that is answering obviously does. I don't know if he or she knows about 360. So what you just said is correct. We reached out to an exhibitor last year, and we got a booth that was free. The participant practically paid just for their flights and their hotel.
Which one was that?
African Fashion Sourcing Week in Ethiopia. So,
oh wow,
nice. Yeah, nice, good. Yeah. Was that fun? I was actually going to say, the governments, local governments, like Department of Trade and Industry and stuff like that, if they had a floor, they're happy. I'm sure they want to fund things like this. Correct?
There is the British Fashion Council. The British Fashion Council has put over £1 million for Nigerian to develop their fashion economy.
There you go. I thought so.
So the thing is this.
Sorry.
For effort that people collective, we are a collective. So 360 is here to support young designers, and we do this by bringing resources like 2 guys talking about it and putting together. So last year we did that. This year, good is at 360, which is introducing Idozi, is going to be in the same African Fashion and Sourcing Week, and we'll have a booth that we are not paying for.
That's good.
Exactly.
That's good. Do you actually ask the local trade? You can ask trade, other trade ventures to support you and finance you and stuff like that.
Yeah, so
that's really good stuff.
Bridget, so because of when you go through the government, it takes a longer period.
Of course.
And that is why these young designers don't go to the government, because they know, they might not get any answer in a long time. So, but you can't wait for the government. And that's why we are bridging this gap. Don't spend a little bit of money, but you get results. We go to shows collectively. We did shows in Ghana. We've been taking designers to Ghana that will have 1 week, and we have a store in Ghana now. We are doing collectively. We are paying. We are written to Who Is Next. They have not responded to us.
Oh, sorry. Who did you apply to?
You keep.
No, Bridget.
Sorry.
Who did you apply to?
Who Is Next in Paris? Who Is Next?
Oh, I know them very well. I have an excellent relationship with the director of Who's Next.
Okay.
Excellent relationship.
Okay, so we've written to them, and we told them that we have we're young designers that can make Who Is Next fantastic. We've not gotten a response, but we hope that we get a response from them. And these are things that we are doing. It's not for 360. It's for us to help young designers, So
don't wait for them. Don't wait. You know what? Don't wait for them. Go to Paris at the same time that they're there, because I've seen this happen before. This was like oh my God, I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you ever heard of an exhibition back in the day called Bread and Butter.
Yes, of course, yeah.
You remember? You saw how big it became, right?
Yeah.
They did the same. Nobody wanted to know. Nobody blah 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 blah. But they went ahead and did it. Bread and Butter became one of the biggest exhibitions in Europe in the 90s. They didn't wait. So please carry on. People will come and find you, and then they want a piece of you.
Yeah, but I think when it comes to Paris, Bridget, the reality of it, it's also, if you go in the context of an exhibition, visa would be easier. If they go without the context of an exhibition, it would be extremely hard as a group of Nigerian to get in France, even for business.
Yes.
Yeah, but then take a showroom space.
Take a what?
You take
Yes,
that's it's like British Fashion Council taking like a space in they do London designers. They take a massive space. Is it totally different?
It's totally different because Nigeria is or was part of the Commonwealth. Nigeria's got nothing to do. So if they go outside of Who's Next, there is, and they just want to take a space in Paris. First of all, in Paris, nobody's going to rent them a space. It's going to be extremely hard to do that. And second, for them to get the visa, it's going to be like, they need someone to be able to support and vouch them to get a visa to do something like that in Paris. And if they would go being invited, Who's Next would have to support this. Who's Next will have to write the letters. Well, this is all technical now, but it would be much more easier. But we can talk about
you've got a good point. You have a very, very valid point. I forget these other parts. There's always like a back end of paperwork and
so
that's
why I think we'll have to take the conversation out there.
Let's take this conversation somewhere else. But to come back,
that is what we do. That is what we do for young designers. We reach out to exhibitors, market first, and we write them. We say, oh, we have collective of 10, 20 that are willing to come in. What can we get? What is the best discount? And we split the cost among them, and it comes at a cheaper rate. So that's what we've been doing, and we'll continue doing that.
Good. I wish you the very best, because you know what? I think I'm sure you're going to succeed. The market is crying for newness and something different, and it's got to start somewhere. And I can only see you growing. It's just going to be a matter of time until we get rid of all this, uncertainty and not knowing where it's going, whatever. But you know what? That can't stop you. Don't let that stop you.
I don't think anything can stop Blessing. So we've got another one. Do you want to see best commercial? Okay, so we've done that. Yeah, and then we've got Baby Fulan, who's based in Paris, and she is thinking of starting a brand. She's an amazing photographer. She's got you should all go and check it out, actually. She's got a beautiful Instagram page, and she is, what did she say? She said, do you have to pay yourself at the beginning? Because I often hear that you can't pay yourself at the beginning. I want to answer that first, and then Bridget, you go in, yeah. Baby Fulan, at the beginning, I will say, as a micro entrepreneur, as a baby entrepreneur, there is no shame of having a full-time job once you are working at your dream. All right? Unless you've been working in fashion before, and on that line of fashion, you can do yourself like 5 or 3 jobs. Like you can be your own marketing director, you can be your own photographer, you can be your own community manager. I would advise you to keep working and build on your dream until it's mature, and you've gathered all the information, and you've gathered all the consultant before you have a team, but all the consultant that you're gonna have, that you know who's gonna sew your collection together, that you know where you're gonna source then it will avoid, because I don't believe that because you're a designer, you have to be broke. I don't believe that, and I'm gonna give you one great example. There's a designer in London, G.W. Anderson. Don't like what he does, but I love his business model, and it's so clever. I always talk about it because I was very dismissive of his talent, but I think his talent, to me, I don't like his style, but I think that his talent lies somewhere else. He's an excellent businessman, and he's been able to make a brand. 2 years after he graduated of college, so from school, literally out of school, he was turning a net profit of 50,000. 50,000 net. And this is why, so he basically had a business, and this is why the British Fashion Council took him on, because they understood that he had a business. So what did he do? He did his graduation. He did a fashion show for the graduation. People have picked up on it. He straight away wanted to have a brand. He didn't want to work for a fashion house. He wanted to have his own brand. So he must have gone and did a business plan. With this business plan, he's put all his money into the making of the garment and the collection, and a sales director, a commercial director, to sell the collection. And what did he do? He concentrated and he put all his focus on selling everywhere to anybody that wanted to purchase one coat, two coat, a full, whatever. Sell. And after that, he went and see and approach the big organization to get more help so he could get international recognition. And it worked because he could say, well, you know what? I'm a business. I'm actually a British business. And I can tell you that I'm a business because I turn that much money. I'm organized like that. I've got my sister. I've got my little factory in-house. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And nobody had really heard about him. But because he was a business and he had good collection, I look at him as being a young version of kind of Burberry sort of thing, you know, this British pride. So no, you don't, I would say, no, you don't have to be broke, but yes, it will cost you money. And yes, it will be an investment. Now, Bridget, what do you think about that? Do you have to be broke when you start to be a designer?
It's, you know, it's like, what the heck? You know, I always say the one thing that stops everybody from their dreams is money.
Yeah. So
you've got to eat, you've got to pay your bills, you've got to, you know, you've got to live. You got to live like you cannot put all of your love and attention into designing and your brand if you've got the financial worries in the back of your head, or actually the forefront of your head. So no, I don't, you know, why suffer? Why suffer for the lack of not having any money or thinking where the bill's going to come through? No, I don't, you know, I'm not into that. I mean, I know what it was like for me, but you know what, the times have changed now. We're in 2020s. When I started my business, it was 1999, you know, I didn't have a bank loan. I did everything myself. I had a line in the house. I just went for it, you know, but I was secure in knowing that people were going to get paid, right? Nowadays, we don't know if people are going to go into the store. So you just need to just be realistic. Things will happen, but be realistic on yourself. There's no point in making yourself feel sick and worry or not, and broke and tired and upset that you don't have money.
And that's not
passion. That's bullshit.
And that's not normal. And also, now you have internet. You have so many ways. You can do a crowdfunding. You can sell by RSVP. You can do pre-order sale with a good marketing. You can make your product very desirable and say, okay, it's only made to order. You have to go into the waiting list. And then when you do that, you know exactly how much it's going to cost you, how many people want it, and that's it. You know, it's like there's a lot of small, medium designer that lives really well like that. They just make to order. Like me, there's someone I buy my sweater from. He's made 10 of them, only 10. That's all he's got in different colors. He has zero stock of it, but he waits that he's got 10 orders per month and then you have them done. And that's how it works. And I know that, and I'm fine with this. And the sweater costs £90 and I buy it at £90, and I'm very happy to buy it at £90. And I have no problem to wait because that's how it works. I understand it and I have accepted it. So he found this niche of client that we're all happy to spend £100 on a sweater, and you're all happy to wait.
Yeah, and then next you know, they'll be like, oh my god, I need it, and then you start all this. Everybody wants a piece of the pie, so his business will start growing because word of mouth is powerful.
And also,
so you know, people old school marketing really still does work. You know, I actually believe it's even more so than the social media that we have. Word of mouth will always be the number one marketing tool, I actually believe. If you don't see it on a normal person and they're not seeing and talking about and the desire of it, I think that's just, you know, I think that's just the way, I just think that's the way forward. You know, there's so much competition on Instagram, so much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, how do you put yourself out there? You know what, that's not my forte, but anyway.
So okay, I've got Brit from Abo again. But Abo said Funke also said something interesting. Most departments, because I want to talk about digital, because digital, I want to do 2 questions, and then I want to do digital versus brick and mortar, how the business has changed. So let me do the 2 questions. Funke says, most department stores, stockists in Nigeria don't do markup. This is because they want to maintain the same retail price with us, the fashion brand. So they do not have a higher price than us. And I want to, before Bridget goes into that, I want to say, but it's the same in Europe. You know, what you can't have, if I had a brand and I sell it for £20, how is it going to become £25 at Selfridges? Because then I would become my own competition, and Selfridges would ask you need to put your price higher or down, but we need to have the same price. So it's this, we have the same problem here. So Bridget, explain to us, when you're a designer, whether it's in Europe or in Africa or in Nigeria, how do you make it?
It's called, it's like I said before, it's called RRP, recommended retail price. So if you have your price list and it's done, and you say, look, this is what I want to sell independently, this is what the price I want it to go at, they will honor the same price that you have done it, as long as you've given them a good reason to buy into your brand, which is mean that they've got a good healthy markup in it. So, and if they go in and they decide, you know, I can put it up to, but then also with some of the department stores, they might want to take on a trade discount or a sentiment discount to get even more into, you know, they're thinking, oh, maybe the markup's too low. That's where you offset some discount into it. But recommended retail price and your you know, that's your markup price to the stores is what everyone will follow. Because they will, you know, if you give it to Net-a-Porter, you go to Selfridges and you give them 2 totally different prices to what you have, you're going to have trouble. Yeah. You're going to have massive trouble. So you have one price for all. I'm surprised they don't do that. You know what I mean? How can I'm confused. What do you mean that the store don't do their own markup?
Well, that's what she said. So give us more information on that, Funke, because
she must have a markup. They must get trade or settlement discount, don't they?
Well, no, because what happened, they're taking the margin of the designer. You know, so you know, but Funke, this is a very, very interesting point that I'd like you to delve a bit more, because even for us, if we wanted to trade in Nigeria, that's a very good insight on how the pricing is being made. But in the same way, they have the same problem here. So this way, when you're like, I'm taking the case of Dorcas Create. She's Nigerian, she does pins, she's done extremely well at Who's Next. Super well. We sold so much. I've met, and I'm not a commercial agent, but I had to improvise to be one. And I've met some very good, she was really well prepared also, I have to say. We've made some very good sales, but the entire negotiation was about, you cannot be cheaper than her, you know, but also they can't be more expensive, because, you know, so there's this always, and that's what they do. So, but can we have a discount?
You'd be silly to price yourself out of the market and price yourself against yourself. So no, you have to keep
absolutely.
You need to keep your price, you know, price relative for everybody. But does anybody know what the T's and C's are for this department store in Nigeria? Because that is
terms and conditions. Well, I think she's not actually talking about department store. She's just talking about stockist and retailer in general, like the regular one, you know. So, and then, okay, so Abel, Bridget, please, is there any other major expectation the buyer wants to see on the designer's Instagram, aside the fact that the designer Instagram is active?
That's a good question.
I can answer that. But
you're better at social media. If I'm looking at a brand and the buyer's looking at the brand, if I take on any brand, I need to see if I can sell at least 60 to 80% of that collection. That is
what would be the indicator on that page that this is what you're gonna, how do you assume that from an Instagram page?
Well, obviously your whole story needs to make sense. Your whole board needs to make sense. If you've put on a show, or you've got your whole, you know what I mean? If I can't relate to what your story is telling me on Instagram or social media, then I don't know what the hell your product is about.
So do you look at the comment as well? Do you look at the engagement?
Yeah, I do look. Yeah, no, I look at the comments. I don't give a crap about how many likes it's got. I look at the actual comments, believe it or not.
Can I say something?
Okay.
So
Blessing, we can hear you, Blessing. You need to put on mute, Blessing. Okay,
I want to say something that
okay, so go, yeah, come on, please come in.
So the Instagram stuff in Nigeria is a funny part because most designers don't understand that Instagram, is where they need to, is going to be their catalog, like tell their brand story. So they don't understand that. So what they do on their Instagram, they don't understand between personal Instagram and business Instagram. Yes. So they mix up everything on one. So you can see on Instagram where you see a lot of, let me give you a scenario. We want to select designers that will sell on Idozi, okay? And we say we want to see designers that understand what is happening around the world because people will need to see their brand on Instagram. A stockist that will want to buy, want to see, oh, I want to see this designer that you are telling me about their story. And we are going to their Instagram page. Shockingly, we have about 100 and something people applied. We could only take 30. Because the Instagram page, you see some people, either they are selling gown, tomorrow they are posting about an Ankara trouser, tomorrow they are posting about a wrapper, tomorrow they are posting about a party that they went to. Yeah,
you got it in one person. Yeah.
So it's crazy. And this is why I'm happy that you people are saying this. It's not coming from me because when I'm telling them, they feel, oh, you don't want to understand. So it's good that you, that is a buyer, is telling them that they need to tell their story on Instagram and tell it in a way that people can see. This is their catalog.
Exactly. It's consistency. You have to be consistent in what you're portraying and what your brand is about. It has to tell a story. I mean, yeah, okay, great pictures are fine, but you can be animated about it, but as long as it's geared around your brand and the product that you're selling. This is the key. You're so right when they go around, oh, I went to a party last night, I went to this one, and oh, here's my shoe. I'm like, what does that mean? I mean, yeah, okay. Or if my shoes went to a party, or he went to this one, or he went to there, my shoes are sitting on the front row of London Fashion Week. You know what I mean? It's anything that's geared towards around your product that has a story that is engaging. And then I always read the comments. I don't care about the likes. I want to see what people are actually saying about the product. Oh, if it's more negative on that post, then they're doing something wrong. Or if it's engaging, like there's more laughters and whatever, and they're getting it and whatever, that means the customers are liking what you're doing. They're liking what they're seeing. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, you've got to be consistent. You really have to be consistent when it comes to Instagram.
I'd like to inject a little bit on that as well. I'm trying to work out my Insta. So I'm changing my thing because I'm trying to work it out, but I'm on my phone and not my computer. And I want to share my screen in a second. When it comes to Instagram, people that are going to pick up your brand, it's because you're active. Active doesn't mean that you are posting stuff all the time. Active, it's because you are communicating well with your customers. You're doing live, you're doing good pictures, you have a shop, you have comments, but sometimes now comments, it's a bit complicated because people don't always comment, they do a lot of DM and stuff. And there is a brand, I'm trying to find it on Instagram, they just done one dress. Yeah, I'm going to show that to you. I'm going to share my screen with you. And they've done that one dress, and that I'm going to share my screen, photo, Google Drive. Sorry, 1 second. I'm trying to share my screen. I can't share my screen because I wanted to show you a brand, but I don't know how to share my screen. Share screen, 1 sec. Photos, iCloud, Drive, Mic, box website, or maybe this. Okay, yeah, no, I can't do it. She's done a see-through dress, very simple dress. That you think that there is nothing to it. She is making a meme, but it's not. She only talks about the brand, and she talks about the brand in like 50, 100 ways, different ways about it. You need to have something about the brand. You need to talk about the brand. That's what you need to talk about. You need to talk about your brand. That's the only thing that people want to see. I don't know if people can see. Yeah, I'm sharing the screen now. You know, I'm trying to. Can you see the image?
I did.
No, you can't see the image.
It was there for a few
seconds. You did?
Yeah, very, very quickly.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to resend it.
Don't worry, but just give us an idea of what she's doing.
No, but let me share the screen because otherwise it's not going to be that brand. Yeah, it's Kai Collective. We all love Kai Collective. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's here. And then that brand. Now you can see it. It's a very simple dress. She's got the shop. Now you've got the Instagram page. You can see it now. You can all see it, right?
Hold on.
Can you see? Because I can't see you guys.
I'm actually gonna go on. I'm actually gonna do it from the computer.
So, okay. Blessing, can you see the document that I'm sharing? Lisa, I need someone to talk to me. I can't see the comment. Yeah, okay. So good. So everybody can see. So you see that page? Good. This is a very good page. It's a very simple page. It's a very clean. I actually think that she's also Nigerian, you know. It's so in that picture in the middle, so you've got the red dress. She's done a shoot for that. She's got the khaki dress. She's got a location shoot for that. Then she's got the white dress. She's done a little shoot for that. But also, in a lot of them, and for a lot of them, it is just her own client wearing the dress and being so proud because they want to be featured on her page. They go out and they thought out little photo shoot so she can feature them. Right.
Well, then she's got an angle. She's getting her testimonials directly from her customers.
Yeah, that's what they all do.
That's one of the nicest and the easiest thing to do. She doesn't have to do the work. Her customers let them speak for themselves. So you know what? I am a designer, but you know what? I don't listen to me and think of me. I'm just the best thing since sliced bread. These are the customers that actually bought them, and these are their pictures. And so she's made a whole story, which I'm actually on her page now. It looks really cool.
And then, so when you do your Instagram, people, you need to make them clean like that. It's not always a huge lot of money. The photo shoot that she did for the collection, fantastic. Nice. She's put a lot of time in it. And those collections inspire the sort of visual that her client went out and tried to reshoot, you know? So it's really, so she did all of that. And yes, Funke, she built, like I've been seeing since Tuesday, she's built the community before to put the product out. And therefore, it says to the buyer, honey, whether you buy me or not, I'm selling. So when are you going to catch up with me? Because you're missing on some money, do you know? But also because she did a very good shoot, that shoot is the blueprint for her consumer to the style and say, okay, so if you want to be featured in our page, we need to look like that. And therefore, everybody, every time they buy a dress, they go and make an effort to look very good in whatever they are shooting, right?
Yeah.
So
I've noticed on her page, I'm just looking at it now, just literally how I usually do, just look through the page. The ones that have the most comments are the ones that are from her actual customers.
Yeah, of course, that's what I'm saying.
So that's if she just posts a normal static one that has nothing, she doesn't get anything. No. But the ones that actually have customers have a lot of comments on, and that for me is key. Yeah, 24.
And this, we've got this, the first one to do that was Glossier, the beauty brand, where they mainly 99.9% publish their own customers. And then what they've got, they really go through the net all across the world. They really don't, you know, so they pick some of the coolest cities and they say, oh, we like that. It doesn't need to have a lot of followers. Oh, we like that girl. It's about the looks. And then it gives an idea to their consumer how they need to shoot themselves. And then everybody, and they kind of go out to find the coolest girl. What I found in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Africa in general, we've got two things. We either have amazing pages with like Africa is the future, or suddenly we have pages that talks a lot about the Lord, a lot about going to church, mixing with clothes, and that's not good. That is not good because it's messy and it's not a catalog. That's your personal Instagram of what you're doing on Sunday, and we're all happy for you. But in terms of the brand, international brand, that is not good at all. The use of filter, don't use filter on your picture. That's just so bad. Everybody's over the filters. So we can see still a lot of filters, a lot of highlighter filters. No. Like I said yesterday, you have the seaside, you have the sun, you have the light, you have the blue sky. Use that. We don't even have tens of that in Europe. So really, Instagram is important because it can gather your first tryout of international consumer because you have the shop. Yes, Abigail, we can do an audit of your pages, no problem at all. And also an audit of your logo, Abigail. And so you really have to, if you go on my page over the summer, and this is always what I show, I did some pictures. I took some lipstick and I took some face cream and I shot them with daylight across green leaves, and they look amazing. People shot that thing that I've been shooting them with a photo. No, it was with my iPhone. So you need to learn all of that. So even if it's not, there's a very good beauty brand called R&R based in Ghana. Fantastic. They are in Ghana and they've been picked up by the big boys, brands and press over in Europe. That's because cool. They look so good. Yeah, they look so good. So you could really do that. And I think that it's just a matter of doing a little bit of a workshop, of showing you like, there is what people like in Nigeria. So you need to do two things to make sure that you don't alienate your first base of consumer. But then you also need to make sure that your looks, what you're going to present, is also going to be able to recruit new consumer. You know, and that is very, when it comes to Instagram, that is very important. So
just please bear in mind, listen, if you have a brand and you want to go international, one of the things that I've actually always seen time and time again when we go to sales agents meetings and you have, all of Europe, you have Germany, France, Italy, the Russians, and then you got the USA and Canada and, South America. And we were all there at the sales meeting and we all got our 10 pence in saying, no, this works for our market. Well, I need this on this brand. I need that one. And this doesn't work for me, blah, blah, blah. You cannot be a jack of all trades. Please bear in mind, because each market is different. So if you want to be universal, it's a very fine science of trying to be everything to everybody. You're not going to be. So really focus on your target market of who you address and who you want to see your product with and where you want to go. Because once you go international and you go bigger and everything else, us as sales agents, we will strip you, the designer, blind, trying to get everything from you because we want to make more money in our own market. All right. But if it's a very good agency and whatever, they'll understand that there is a market. There is a market for your product where we are, as it is. You know, we can tweak it a little bit, or, you know what I mean? And, you know, can you do this, or can you do like a collaboration? Can you do exclusive pieces for our market? Yeah, you can do that. But don't let us go around and try and change your collection just to suit your one market. 9 times out of 10, a brand always fails. You go to one collection, like, oh my God, I get it. That's really cool. Then you go next season, like, what the F happened? Yeah, but we sold like 1,000 units of those in Germany, and Germany was selling really big. It's our biggest market. I'm like, okay, you're going to put all your eggs in one basket. You know what I mean? So the Germans said it's all about the rest of us. So what about the other markets? You know, so you've got to please be bear in mind, just stick with the program. If your product is right and your brand is right and the pricing is right, and, you know, you've got all the magic elements in it, you know, and it's all, you know, it's all like, what do you call it? What's the word? An alchemist of the best things that you can have, you've done. Your product will sell. One way or another, it will sell, and it will be found and it will grow. It was just that, you know, it will just take time. You've got to have patience. Please, 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 please have big patience.
So, Bridget, we have Rina and asking, when a retailer reorders during season, how long will they expect the second delivery?
As soon as possible.
Like yesterday.
Like yesterday. You know what? If your brand is selling like hotcakes, us as sales agents want it in as soon as possible. So how can I do this? Right. So how can I explain this? This is where it comes to having finance. You know, you can't go broke to sell it. But if you've sold, you can either represent your brand as a limited edition one-off collection and create the desire for the next collection, or the next drop. Take, for example, Supreme. The Supreme's a really good one. I'd say, you know, it's one of the best ones. You know, if they do a limited edition capsule collection of maybe 60 pieces, there's only 60 pieces per door, per country. First come, first served, done. The next drop will be 2 months later. There's going to be 120 units per door, 100 in Japan, 100 in the UK, 50 in theirs. First come, first served, done. That's how you can do it. So if you do repeat business, you've got to have backup stock. But that's a tricky science as well. So that means you have to be on top of your sell-through. If the sell-through is running really well, you should be there, or the sales agent will be in there saying, look, they're selling this product really well, but that's not selling. Do you have any stock of that? Can I swap it out? Get it in. That's how you do repeat orders. That's how you get repeat orders. Oh, that really sold well. Oh, I sold 90% of those. Oh, I didn't reorder enough of those. Your budget for the following season will be bigger. And that's how you grow your business. Your budget's on repeat business, but you've got to have the stock to have it. So maybe do 20%, 15% of your initial order ready for stock. But if you have your sell-through reports within the first 3 or 5 weeks, it gives you an idea of like, oh, do you have any stock of that, or do you have any? How long is it going to have for you to turn over an item or units? This is what you've got to think about as well. If you want to do repeat orders, how long is it going to take you to do repeat business? Can you do it within 4 weeks? Can you do it within 3 weeks? But yet have to be on top of your sell-through reports and your statistics to analyze that, to see, okay, this is only going to last me for 6 weeks. This is only going to last me for 5 weeks. I need to get the stock in. I need to have stock just to reorder it. And then on the back end, you're pushing the sales team, push. And you only got 5 units. It's only going to last you 6 weeks. It's only going to last you 2 weeks. Okay, you know that it's going to last you 2 weeks. How long? I can get the stock into you in 4 weeks. Fine. Here's the PO. You got delivery window. I have the stock to you within that day. So then they're all aware that you're on top of your game, that you know what's happening. You've got to be on top of the game. They want to see that from you. They want to see that from the agency. But you've got to be on top of your sales. You've got to be on top of no point in selling. You've got to sell out. You can go in, but you've got to sell. You've got to be like, right, I've sold it in. How's it selling? How's it doing? Oh, it's kind of slow. No. Okay, what can I do to turn it around? What can I, well, you know, is there something not working for you? Okay, but I have this in play. If you do exclusives, they have to stick with the product. There's no two ways about it. That's it. Just don't do anything like it's not really working for us, Bridget. Well, that's your risk. That's the supplier's risk. You pay for it, done, let you go. But be on top of your sell-throughs. Your sell-throughs are important. That's where you get your reorders. But then you've got to know if like I said, if it's selling within the first 2 weeks, then it takes you another 6 weeks. You've got to tell the supplier and keep the supplier in mind. Say, look, I can see that selling really well. You've only got 2 weeks worth of supply. I can get more stock out to you, but I need a reorder from you. How many units do you need? Okay, we'll get an order out to you tomorrow. How long can you take to turn around? You say, I'll come back to you in like 2 or 3 days. Okay, we can get stock to you in X, Y, and Z day. They'll accept it. They'll accept it because they know that that's product is selling, and they can make more money within that sales window before the sales starts, before markdown agreements and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that answered that question. Did I answer that question?
Yeah, you did. And I want to touch back. I want to touch back because we've been here for a little while now, and we're gonna be about closing. I want to touch back on the different areas of selling, so people don't panic if they are not ready for department store. There's so many ways. So you've got all the crowdfunding, which is also very, very good for marketing and getting your brand to be known. You have the made to measure. We've got Natasha Bacco in France. She's been doing made to measure for 10 years, and she's doing she's exceeding. She's always working. She has a certain amount of styles. Maybe I think she got 10 styles. You've got to go. So it reminds us a bit of Africa, because for us in France or in Europe, it's very exquisite because the made to measure does not exist, right? Which is the opposite. You know, we have the ready to wear, but we don't have the made to measure. So when people goes to Natasha Bacco, she's an African designer using wax. It's very exquisite, and it feels very special to us. She's making a mint. The girl is working really well. So she got that. So there is the crowdfunding, made to measure, special, waiting list. You know, so where you have to reserve your spot to get the product.
That's gold. Back in the day, we used to call that the waiting list, the black book. Your black book is your gold, man. That's gold. That's gold. That's gold right there.
Do you know? But that's what a lot of young designers do now, because with the digital, they hype the product on Instagram. The product is not available. Everybody wants it, and they tell you, you know, that's what we call the drop. So now, okay, this is going to drop in 3 weeks. Register here. So you've got crowdfunding, the kind of the bespoke, which works really well. You've got the drop. You've got, obviously, you have the brick and mortar with concept store, which is much more easier to do, because usually in concept store, the owner of the shops works in the shop too, so you have an easy access. And then you have the big one, the department store. Now, in 2020, about to be 2021, are the department stores still the Holy Grail? What about online store? Digital.
It's, to be honest with you, it'll be a mix of the two. There will come a point where we don't want to be confined anymore, so we want to get out. You know, we want to get out. We want to get back to a sense of a little bit of a past, but with a different kind of mindset. Okay, so the department stores are always going to be there. They're right there. The bricks and mortar, they're always going to be there, and they're all, you know what? And I actually believe they're going to really push themselves out. You know, really push themselves out into the furore of anything they do to engage the customers to come back into the stores. So that's going to happen, 1,000%. So it could be a very good time to actually go back into the stores, department stores, but how they want to do it in terms of like the footfall and, you know, the COVID and stuff is another kettle of fish, but they've got to pay rent. You know, you're not going to knock down Selfridges and whatever that, you know, big acres of, where they've just done a whole massive refurb of the whole stores. It's not going to happen. But in terms of their digital, you know, like Liberties and the digital platforms like Liberties and Selfridges and Matches and Brown's Focus, they're doing it in a different way.
Can I just say, it's not even digital, it's more like Selfridges versus Etsy. How does this compete? Selfridges or Harrods is the same, but what about the digital marketplace?
The digital marketplace will explode.
ASOS.
It's they're gonna explode. They're just gonna get even bigger. They're just gonna get even bigger because unfortunately, well, there's a two-way street. You know what I mean? Digital is okay, but the fact of the matter is that you've got to think of a customer likes to be tactile, a buyer likes to be tactile. That means they like to touch and feel the fabric and whatever. So going back to what you said in Instagram about filters is a no-no, is so 100% right, because PR is great. They take an item and they flower it and everything else, and it looks really cool and pretty. But us, the salesperson, we got to sell the garment as it looks. So you've got to be careful about how you represent your brand on Instagram. It looks beautiful on Instagram, but if I get the actual product and it comes in and it's flings in and it's tacky and whatever, you've lost yourself right there. Yeah. So you have to be careful about how you represent your brand on Instagram. Make sure it's as realistic as possible. That, you know, if it's like this and this is the fabric and this is what it looks like, this is what I'm getting. Okay, this is what you have to be. There has to be a lot of clarity when it comes to presenting your brand and your product on Instagram, more so than ever. And whereas the things like ASOS succeed is, you know, putting on the models and the catwalks and showing, you know, the garment in a 360 way, you know, it takes money and it takes time and it's a whole production in itself. But the customers have come to know ASOS as like, you know what, I've seen it on the model, I know I like it, I'm going to buy it. But then it's the same as Zara. You know, Zara's
making a mean. So
I don't know who did their thing, but they've done it in a way. It's like the product looks good. This, you know, you come to know that's Zara. That's what it looks like. Okay, I'm convinced I'm going to buy from Zara. I'm not worried about the, you know, that I'm not going to get something completely different. This is what it is. This is what it looks like.
So how is it? Is it easier to, if you want to launch yourself? Because I also want to talk about international retail. If you're a young designer, before you would say, oh, before I go to the big department store, I'm going to go and do the small shop online. Is it going to be, first of all, is it going to be easier now to go into department store and harder to go in the big store online?
No, it's the same way. They're both the same. They all have the same T&Cs. They all have the same demands. There's no different. The only different issue working with people like Net-a-Porter or
online shopping,
you know what I mean, is that the back end work of putting in all the coding, you know what I mean, all the ELN codes, all that kind of stuff. It is time consuming. Oh my God, if you get one code out, it's just, it's horrible. I like the old school, get my PO, send it, ship it, you deal with it, done, dusted. But if you're going with people like ASOS and stuff like that, they, you know what I mean, you've got to do a whole heap of paperwork and admin just to get your product online. And it's not because they're being difficult, it's because it's government regulations, you know what I mean? It's watchdog, it's FCA, you know what I mean?
Okay.
All about clarity. So you need to be aware that they will help you. Don't get me wrong, they are very, very helpful on
so basically the process of being noticed by a buyer from ASOS or Selfridges is similarly is the same. Now the logistic of getting into the store is a bit different, and we understand the reason why. That's logical, but the process is pretty much the same. Okay.
Yeah, they're all the same.
Now, me, I was talking with someone the other day, and that makes very good sense what she was saying. And this is also a question that actually I want to ask to our Nigerian audience. Why would you want to export your products rather than trade with the bordering countries, knowing that when you trade with us, it's extremely expensive. Let's say you do garment and they are not made locally. So if I understand properly, you're going to have a lot of stuff. Cotton is bought in India, manufactured in India. For lots of the clothes that have been sold in Nigeria or on the African continent in general, it's made in India, then it's sent back to Nigeria with a tax, then it's sold to Nigeria, then you've got your product and then you want to export it to Europe. So you pay another tax to export it to Europe. So it's that tax. And I don't really understand why Nigerian would not concentrate more on selling to Ghana and Togo and Senegal and Ivory Coast and so on and so forth. Do you understand? Even though we have a thirst, really in Europe, we have a thirst for the bespoke fashion that you have, the cut-off shoulder, the flare trousers. We're really looking for this for the weddings. I mean, like, the styles in Nigeria is so flamboyant. Everybody's like, I want to get the Nigerian fashion. And then it's so expensive, you know, and to get the Nigerian fashion, you have to go through really shady canal of distribution who's called my auntie, my sister, my cousin, my friends. But I don't.
You know what? That sounds like it's like a pot of gold. You know, everybody likes
it
a
is
premium.
A pot of gold. It is a pot of gold.
You know what I mean? You don't want to be a jack. You know, you don't want to be you're going to be everyone's cup of tea, but you don't want to be a mug. You want to have that kind of premium element. So if it's going to cost them that kind of money, then, you know what I mean, know your value. I think I agree with you in terms of the African continent has so much money. I think I don't see. I actually agree. I actually think, you know, why not build a whole area around there first, and then go to the other market. The next market should be actually the Americas. I mean, look at Beyonce. I mean, she's all of a sudden starting wearing petite things. You know what I mean? They're all getting into. You know, the African moves is all starting to come through. Everyone's starting to do our dances again, and it's all starting to build momentum. So
Absolutely.
After the African markets, you know what I mean, logically, my next market will be Americas, because, you know what I mean, they seem to be embracing all of this much more quicker.
But it still doesn't sort out the problem of the tax, and that
you're not going to get around that though. That's the way it is. I mean, the American tax and the duty and stuff is nuts.
No, but it's not just that. I mean, if they had more local manufacturing, because they pay tax on, I think Nigerian people pay tax on so many ways. Like my friend, she's in Ghana, Nigerian in Ghana, she does beauty. She has the beauty made in Italy. Then it is being taxed to enter Ghana. Then it's being taxed to leave Ghana. Then it's being taxed to enter anywhere where the customer wants to buy it. It's crazy. The product is amazing.
I think we need to stop, you know, thinking that, you know, that everything's all premium, that, you know, anything that comes from Italy or Paris or France or Americas is like a premium level. I mean, sod it, you know, made in Ghana, made all 100%.
Yeah, but you can't.
Ghana, made in 100% in Nigeria or wherever the case may be. We are a premium. Let's change the status quo.
I think here,
but
maybe it's not the point.
But maybe it's the case that, you know, we don't have the actual facilities or techniques.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We don't have the manufacturing.
That might be the case.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The manufacturing is not there yet. So it makes it very complicated. For beauty, for fashion, I say manufacturing could be sorted. But for beauty, the manufacturing is just not, it's impossible right now. But I would say, so it's
there is one. I think there is someone in the neighbouring countries that can do just as well. I actually believe I think because we've all been conditioned over these years of everything that's coming out of Europe is the sliced, you know, the bee's knees and sliced breads, but we've actually not looked at the thing that's actually homegrown. It's like, you know what? We're just as good or maybe even better. We might not have the actual skills, but you know what? The end result is even 5 times better. And I think, you know, I was actually sitting there, to believe it or not, I couldn't believe it. I actually switched on the TV for the first time in ages yesterday. And I was shocked at the amount of black advertisements coming on. I'm like, why are you getting so upset you're seeing so many black people? He goes, Bridget, because you've been conditioned to see all of these adverts being all white for so many years that you kind of like thinking, oh my God, they're going a bit overboard using black actors in every single thing, you know, Sainsbury's, Tesco's and whatnot. I'm just like, what's going on? What's happening? It's because I'm being conditioned. And I
okay, so So let's go back into business a little bit more. And this question are for the Nigerian in the audience, because I want to get them engaged a little bit more. What would you rather sell your product? And this is for you guys. This is for everybody. So it's for Rina, Abel, Stephanie, Eka, Yemzi. Well, Yemzi, you're in Europe. Baby Fulam, you're in Europe. Blessing, Benjamin, Patch, you're in Paris. Abby, Ola, Ebube, Coco. Would you rather sell your product in Europe, knowing that you're going to be charged with really, really high cost, or would you rather sell to the neighborhood countries? Or what stops you to sell to the neighborhood countries? You know, that's so I will wait in the comment for you. And for the French designer, are you interested on selling just in Paris, or would you be interested on going to the African countries, whether it's English speaking or French speaking, to sell your product? That's a question. I'm waiting for the comment, the answer in the comment. Now, Bridget, so we've talked a little bit about the digital and how the digital has been activated with COVID, where everybody's online. Home deliveries is just like, it's booming. I don't know how it is in Nigeria, because we don't have much information about the situation in Nigeria. The only thing that I know is that you know the country is going pretty well, apart from SARS, but economically the country is maintaining, contrary to us here in Europe, where it's pretty bad.
Hello, can I say something about that, Bridget?
Yes.
Can you okay, in terms of e-commerce is growing, because people, during COVID, we had a lot of people going into food delivery. People have to eat. So logistics and e-commerce have to grow. And people now have to learn we have what we call USS code, where you just type a particular code for something and you say yes or no, and you get something delivered to you. So that is like feature for people that doesn't have access to smartphone.
Okay.
But e-commerce is at startup phase, and it's a bigger opportunity. And for the second part, where you ask, do we rather sell abroad? So, you know, for every business wants to earn forex. The essence of we trying to get into international market is that we believe that we have so much to give that we are not being recognized for it.
Yeah.
So we have so much to give that we are not being, and that is why we are trying to push boundaries and say, see, guys, you need to know that something good is coming from this part of the world. But that does not take away the fact that we are selling in other African countries. So let me give you an instance. We are talking to people in Cameroon. We are talking to people so we already have a store in Ghana where we are selling with another Ghanaian fashion designers. So we are collaborating and partnering with other concept stores in other countries, carrying our young brands to. But getting to Europe is an opportunity to say, oh, we have what it takes to play in that domain. That's the essence of we trying to get into European markets.
Blessing, you're doing you know what you're Blessing, you know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
You do. I don't think you. Yeah, you know your limitations, but you know what I mean. You know your long-term goal, and that's the key. I think you have a very realistic mind, and I think that's what your customers need. You know what I mean? I know that you said earlier before, and I get it. That, you know what I mean? I've said this before, and they don't believe me, and they want to hear it from somebody else. But keep pushing that, because I can't. You know, it's just the way that I just think that you know your home market, and you know what they can do. And I think you're just your battlefront is just how to get there. And how it will explode. But I think a little eureka sign will come up to you, or something will open, and then it'll be like, I don't know. I keep coming back to the Department of Trade and Finance. I don't have anything at the minute, or reaching out, but these people always take time to acknowledge what's going on, and it's I don't know how to explain it. I know what in my head, but I just don't know how to put it across to you.
No, but there's a lot of right now. There's a lot of focus and interest on Nigeria fashion through the music as well, because in terms of the music, Nigeria has been doing very, very, very well. So they've been stealing the music from the French African countries. Now, I'm only joking when I'm saying that, but they've been doing very, very well of taking it internationally. And because all those artists are also Nigerian and are also business people, they've also understand the impact of the fashion and so on and so forth. And there is a real emphasis put by the British into the fashion. So I think this is something that we can definitely talk and get back. This is another conversation, but listen, you know your market extremely well. I think you are an expert, absolutely an expert on the Nigerian marketplace of retail and fashion. You also have the right vision, and above all, you have the right intuition, you know. And I am even the fact
that's the word. It's intuition.
Yeah,
that's
you have the right
intuition. She knows. Listen. You know, that's the word. That is the key word.
And as a designer, when you work in fashion, I'm sorry, but you need shitloads of it, because you have to feel the market.
It's a gut knowledge. It really is, and that's what it is.
It's something that you can't always see the market, but you can feel the market. And that's what fashion would say, oh, I need to be inspired. But basically, when we say, oh, we need to be inspired, the inspiration is the intuition. There's so many things around you that give you one sort of vibration that you know it's going to work, and you've really got that to guide your designers. Anybody like Rina right now, you should make a mint, because everybody wants leggings, right? You should absolutely kill it, because everybody's indoors. And if you're not, you need to think about why you're not doing it. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna see if we've got any comments based on what I've asked to people, and then we're gonna have to close. So this is Rina, flourishing fish. No, nobody answered to